no me without you. And they said a house is not a home if there's no one there to hold you tight. And sometimes we forget where we came from, and because we didn't have that personal experience with our fathers and our mothers, sometimes uh, we may feel like that's not the important part of me. A lot of us don't even acknowledge that part of ourselves. So this disconnection did not come by way of our choosing. Sometimes, I don't know if y'all ever boxed before or played football or any sports, but mainly I'm gonna say boxing. And I don't recommend that people get inside the ring and box, but even the apostle used fighting a good fight, So I'm gonna use that, you know. When he said take on the breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, that's you putting on fighting gear. So we're gonna talk about boxing too and tie this in, right? So with boxing, they say, can you go 12 rounds? And some of us may get tired. We might be tired on our first round or our second or our third round, you know. And exhaustion. If you throw inside of the towel, the other fighter get they take your belt if you was a champion, right? And in order for you to be a champion, you had to go through many of those times when you wanted to give up on fighting. Shalom, NC Rockstar. I think that's Los Angeles, right? Yeah, I'm yet holding on, brother. See, in boxing, there's something called exertion. Even in football, when you're running, when you got to run up, that's 100 yards. And imagine your team is on a good day, and you was the wide receiver. Now the line get tired too. A lot of times we don't pay attention to the linemen like that. A lot of us that like to watch, sports. But some of us do. Some of us pay attention to the linemen and the defensive linemen. Shalom, Sister Naomi. Some of us pay attention to stuff like that. That is not little. It's hard to be a blocker on a line. I'm telling you. I played, and I wasn't that big, and I was on an offensive line and also defensive line, and I also played on the special teams. Special team don't mean special ed, fam. Special team mean you on the kickoff. When they doing punts, there's a special team on some rosters. They may have a whole different brand of football players that get on that punting team. But on my team, I played for offense and defense. We used to box outside in the back. It was just something we did as children. I wouldn't let my children do it, but that was something we did, boxing. But to each his own. But the point of what I'm bringing up is that there comes a time when you running, you gonna get tired. Even running track, I did that too. I ran track. There was a time when running down that track, I got excruciatingly tired, especially when you know, got to run across there about 8 times. And I don't know if many of y'all know this, but the track, and it might be different for different places, but the track where we ran around, it was around a football field. So there was a track there that was the practice field. The track there, it had a road, like it looked like a road around it. Y'all seen track, y'all remember watching the sister that ran and won that victory? Yeah, so around the track, they got the lines or whatever. You got to run and see. I felt like the ones on the outside, they might be getting the bad end of the stick. Somebody told me, no, it's the same thing. They're just more further out. But if I go more further out, that means I got more yards to run, I would think, because I'm more far away from the mark. So if a Negro is pushed 100 miles out and his line is all the way out there, you know what I'm saying? And the other people line is more so in the middle of that circle around the football field. This is my estimation. That means that you got to run longer because the further you out. Have y'all ever seen draw a line, take a basketball and draw lines around it, draw 10 lines around it. There's a line in the inside and a line on the outside. All right. Now, I hope I ain't messing up somebody's track meet. You know what I mean? But so I guess they measure it a certain kind of way. But anyway, let me lay it down like this here. Negroes are 100 miles away, right? And our circle is just like everybody else's circle, but it's 100 miles away in circle. We know a circle mean when you talking to a Negro. A circle mean that's the people that's of your that's your crew, right? But in our situation, it's our family. Everybody on earth has a circle. But inside of our circle, every nation on earth is their circle. That's their circle. If on our circle, it's all the way out there. So when we run in our track, it's gonna be hard. So in when you run in the long one, the long track, and I saw somebody post up a video of a man that was tired running that track, and somebody stopped midway and helped him get up. The man was so tired he couldn't move his legs, right? Because he got exhausted, and helped him. He hold him up and helped him. This is how we win. We hold each other up and help one another. Because trying to fly past one another, you still gonna run that same mileage, and that's not how you gonna win this one. This is a family. This is a family run. You can't win no family run by leaving somebody else behind. So you got to help your brother and sister up. And what I'm saying is that, and when you look at our history, it has been scrambled all over. So I'm gonna do this with racing cars, right? With racing cars, a lot of us like to watch sports, and I don't know if y'all know about racing. You know, let's do driving, right? We're gonna do regular driving, but you gotta meet to the same place at the same time as the other person. So on the road, they got signs, stop sign. They got the yellow light, the green light, the red light. You know, and let us say uh, every light and every stop sign that was written where we could understand it in our language, right? They have changed it. They changed it over. So the other people got a head start with their language, right? They got a head start. They was able to preserve theirs, but ours was removed away. So you got to take your time. Have y'all ever seen the cartoon? What they call the Looney Tunes with the rabbit, Bugs Bunny, and the turtle. We the turtle family, and who win in Bugs Bunny? Because Bugs Bunny used all his speed and effort, and he win in almost every show that he in. He rarely lose because a rabbit is fast and he's cunning and he's able to maneuver himself and get out of traps and stuff, right? So I'm painting the picture for y'all, fam. So with this right here, you have Negroes that don't know that their signs have been broken down, your language, your your uniform has been outlawed as non-participant for a long time inside of this race. Um, the shoes, you're all the way down from your shoes all the way to the crown of your head. Everything about you has been banded and postponed because in the process of breaking the slave in, they was breaking you. So they would take you from your mother and take you from your father, take you from your ama, your mother, and your abba, your father, and your dawad, your uncle, dawada, your auntie, and your cousins, your brother, your sister, akhwath. They took us away, right? So now let's label this like don't worry about it, I'm putting it together. So let's label this also like a clubhouse, right? Have y'all ever, when you was younger, built a little clubhouse? Some white people build it in a tree, black people, what we call ourselves now, afros, hairdos, naming ourselves by what the slave master called, because they say it's Africa, right? But I heard an African told me they used to call it Alki Bulan. So if you could call it Alki Bulan, right? Because that's what the people that was there, they called it, right? Now, when you look at our nation, we didn't call ours Alki Bulan all the time. There was a time that we probably did, but there was a time when we called our land Yasha'al, Yarashalayam, you know, Yahabada, Banya, Yamayan. That was their lot of inheritance, right? Even the bones of your ancestors and their dust is in that land. So when somebody claim your land, they're claiming your ancestors. And your bones, the bones of diaspora, was found in that land. The skulls of diaspora, even the hair of diaspora was found in that land. DNA of diaspora was found in that land. And someone claimed you, and now where your DNA is and where your dust is, unto dust you shall return. Like in that Master P video, when the man put his hand on the dust and he went back to it, unto dust you are, and unto dust you shall return. So living dust is awar, right? And dust back to the ground is Ipar, right? And that's what Yahweh used to create Adam out of the Adawam, the ruddy clay. Y'all see that? And where did he do it? In the lot of your inheritance, right? In what they call Eden. Now, we were exiled out of our Eden. Our Eden was in our lots of inheritance. Kam's Eden is in his lots of inheritance. Yapath, his inheritance is where his Eden is, but he don't want his Eden. A lot of the Yapath people didn't want their inheritance, so they came down trying to discover new land. So we know that the Israelites were in North Africa, that is cut off with the Suez Canal, that's on the same tectonic plate as Masrium, you know, and Masrium is a Kemetic tribes, more than one, families of these tribes. The Kemetic people were hit first when the Greeks came down. But before the Greeks came down, Nebuchadnezzar came and established himself as Babylon. See, y'all see this? They're trying to make Babylon again. So all of your languages, all of your connection to who you are has been severed, Yasharal, in diaspora. So just because you speak Spanish, don't make you not my brother. Or just because you speak French, don't make you not my sister. Just because you speak in Afrikaner, do not make you my brother and my sister. Just because you speak in different dialects of a bar and you are diaspora of Yasharal does not make you not brothers and sisters. Yasha'al has been scattered to the four corners of the earth. But without honoring your legacy, you lose yourself. in the present. If my relationship with my father and my mother is not valuable to me because I have not met them, then what is the cause of us not meeting? Now, we could draw a connection all the way back on the plantation if you can. You is a rare one. You're rare. But I'm not saying that some have not done that. But if you could draw your line all the way back to your first father and your first mother on this side of the pond of the young, then you have made a great achievement, right? Now, if you could draw it back past that area onto what the place that they call Africa, you have made a excellent achievement, right? So the further you go back, the further you go back to who you are. But the further you try to run away from it without dealing with going back, you have lost who you were. And trying to move in the future, you're going to be uh, not saying that you can't be that ant out there in the woods running around on the dirt that done lost the scent of his kingdom or her kingdom, but you're going to be aimlessly wandering. You remember Cain was exiled, right? And a mark was put on Quayan, right? The mark that was put on Quayan was for mercy, so that anybody that see him and try to slay him, that they will be judged for that. So even though Yahweh exiled Quayan, he put a mark on him for mercy. So y'all understand? You were exiled, and your mark, if it's Hamashiach, that's for mercy. Your seal of the Ruach HaKodash is for mercy. Okay? Not for eternal banishment, but for temporary banishment. When my mother and my father put me on punishment and said, you ain't gonna eat right now because you unthankful, that was not eternally. If it was, then that's child abuse. But for a time, you could tell your child that's being greedy, or your child that's being unthankful for the rice and the chicken that you made for him. Baby, this, you ain't finna eat right now. If you don't want to eat with mama, or if you don't want to eat with daddy that went and purchased, then baby, go to your room. Daddy, can I get a snack? No. Daddy, can I get some grape juice? No. Why? His food is right there. If DCF come in and try to mess up and meddle with you chastising your child, his food is still right there. And if they come in and ignore your parenting, they're gonna take your child away from his plate and dishonorably destroy your household, destroying order and structure. What did they do? The children and diaspora had to listen to what the slave master said, no matter what their mama and daddy said. If the mama and daddy said, my child ain't finna be taken nowhere, they took him anyway. And if the parent got in the way, if they won that fight, they had to win the war. And a lot of them lost that war because we still here today. You understand? So there's different things that we have to deal with, but forgetting yourself is not liberation. Remembering yourself, because we as a nation forgot ourselves. That's why when you ask somebody, which one is us in the Bible? Europeans can point themselves back to their tribes. The Kemetic people can point themselves back to the Kemetic dynasties. The Canaanites, if they ain't hiding, could point. I seen Canaanites say, "Hey, we Canaanites," to the diaspora. They knew who we was. And they pointed themselves and they said, look, we are Canaan. And guess what? They black. They very dark. They got naps in their head. I saw the Cushites. A sister, I say sister because we come from Nach, which means we're cousins. And in our bar, the word for cousin is brother and sister. So when you see the Kawash people, a sister one Gelza Lelen, I think that's her name. I might say it wrong, but that sister is a Ethiopian, and she says she's from the lineage of Kawash, Kush. Her native language is Gaaz. They say it now, geese, right? And she's dark skinned. There are many Kemetic people all across our part, and they can identify themselves with their house. But when a colonizer come in, their job is to classify everything in that property as them. So they classify themselves with the dust of your ancestors. Desecrating tombs is not something that Negroes like to do. But when they dug up the what they call mummies, they desecrated the tombs. That right there, how they was buried ceremonially. Nations have ceremonial practices. Our practices was told to us, but if we don't know how to look for it, then we lose the track of our nation. We lost the scent of our nation. Imagine yourself getting lost. I got lost before. There was a park in Florida called Bud Walking Baseball, fam. And I was real little. My mother still has pictures of it. And she cut out the pictures and made a collage of all the things that we did as children, right? Even the picture with me walking with my daddy's shoes on, I remember how old I was because I could still see in my mind holding up two. And I was walking in my daddy's shoes. And I used to go outside and scream, all y'all girls come out and play, right? But anyway, back to the park. Just letting y'all know a little bit about my upcoming. So at Bud Walking Baseball, Mama got us dressed up, cleaned up, and everything, and we was happy to go to the park at Bud Walking Baseball. It's shut down now, but when we went there, it was the last time. It was the last opening of that park, so you can't unless they reopen it. And my mama used to work there as well, so I guess she got us in. But it was packed up. It was full of white people, black people, what we call ourselves now, separating ourselves, calling ourselves Jamaican people because that's where we was. That's where we grew up at, or we was born at, or where the ship dropped some of us off at. Or we call ourselves Afro, Puerto Rican, Afro, Cuba, whatever we call ourselves. So everybody was jammed up in there. It was the last opening for that family. And so when we went in there, I got lost. I got lost. And I couldn't find my daddy. And as a child, I was crying. Right? Let me put that up there for the Mashpaka. And so we dishonoring, like the sister said. A lot of us is doing it. And I think that we're not doing it willfully. I think repetition causes all repetition is not good repetition. Learning how to block the wrong way in martial arts. When you're doing boxing, practicing defense. But anyway, you got to keep on moving. You can't stop moving. You got to keep on moving. You got to keep on learning. Hey, but anyway, I got lost and I couldn't find my daddy and I couldn't find my mother, right? I didn't know the trail that they took. I didn't know the last place that my mother was. I didn't know the last place that my father was. And I saw a European man and a European woman, I think, that was married, and they was trying to help me find my mother and my father. And when I found my daddy, I was happy. Not that I hated the guy that wasn't my daddy, but he wasn't my daddy. Not that I hated the woman that wasn't my daddy or my mother, but she just wasn't my mother. I wanted my mother. Not that I hated the European little children and the other Israelite children that call themselves hairdos and skin colors now. Not that I disliked them, not that I didn't want to play with the children. It was a simple fact that I wanted to find my father and I wanted to find my mother. And I'm telling you, Mashpaka, you can go and travel back to the lands of your heritage. But if you don't know who you is, your mama's house that somebody else's name is on is not going to be home to you. Your father's room, you'll see it as an old dusty ruin. But if I can go back to the time when I see my grandmother and my grandfather on the place that the city claimed as theirs, right? If I could just go back there, an elder named Melvin Williams, who used to be one of my favorite singers in the Williams Brothers, one of, and I liked it Doug as well, but Doug is my auntie's favorite singer in the Williams Brothers, and I liked Mr. Henry Green because we built a relationship with him, and he was a very kind-hearted man. And all of his achievements and everything that he did, along with the group, with Melvin Williams and Doug Williams and their brother, I can't remember his name, but my auntie, she know them by heart, all of them. But you want to know what home is, and Melvin Williams sung this song. He said, and I'm gonna sing this, and then I'm finna head up off of here, family. He said, "If I could find my way back to that cross." He said, "I could find my way back home." I want y'all to look that song up. If I could find my way back to that cross. And I want you to think about, if I could find my way back to that cross. That man that was hung on that cross had a family, a lineage, a nation. That man that was buried in Yahweh of Arimathea's tomb, he had a lineage, and he was buried among the rich of those who were of his lineage inside of a tomb, wrapped up. You know how you got to wrap yourself up in kemet when they used to bury them, mummify their body, and put the stuff on their body and everything, like what Mariam and them went to do at Yahweh Shai's tomb, the same way that they used to bury the dead in kemet. Because a lot of people say they kemet. Listen, Yahweh was buried the same way. Look, he was buried like a pharaoh. But anyway, because he was one of the highest at that time, but not higher than Pharaoh. That's why his name was changed to Sap Nap Panea. And the Kemetic people named one of our ancestors that. The Alahayim, who speaks Alahayim in Hebrew, which are the people of Hebrew lineage, they speak that. Yawasap means something totally different than what he was named in Kemet. He was taken away from home, sold into slavery by his brothers. Only one wanted to save him. But when Ya'aquaba saw him, the son of his lineage, his Zarai, his seed, his baby, because he was about to pass on. See, losing your way back home. And so, like I said, if y'all come back home, you go back home, you're going to be a stranger in your lots of inheritance. Where the dust that has your DNA, It's all in the dirt. They cannot get it out of their family. Your DNA is all in the dirt in your home country. Can the leopard change his spots? No. So can the Cushite change what color they is? No. You are like unto the Cushites. You look like the Cushitic people, Israelites. And there's a prophecy in there about you to tell you who you is. That prophecy should strengthen your faith in your creator. Because there's a miraculous thing that happened that Yah, the creator of Shamayam Wa'aras, that created this big and beautiful place for you. All of this for you. And we lost our way back home. We lost our way back home. You can own all of the earth, but if you don't know how to get back home to that tree, what a man that had your blood in his veins, because he's your redeemer. And that's the only way you're going to be redeemed, because you have to have a kinsman to redeem you. The scriptures say you will be scattered. And when he returns, he will redeem you. He's your redeemer. That's why you can say, I know my redeemer live. I don't know about that other person, but I know that we need our redeemer. Our redeemer is the Savior. And whosoever put their hope in our redeemer, though he die, yet may he live. Family, understand this right here. He prophesied and said, know of a surety to Abraham that your seed, your Zerah, your sperm, your descendants shall be slaves in a land that is not theirs. And they shall serve there 400 years and be oppressed there. And Messiah told you before he left here. In Luke chapter 21, read it, family. It's about you. You, the ones that are called nothing. But you're the apple of Yahweh's eye. Understand who you is. I can just picture this. A little baby that don't see the value in her appearance or in his appearance, trying to scrape off something that your creator gave you, trying to medicate it away by putting stuff on your skin to try to erase it because you don't know your way back home, and you're sick and you need a doctor, and your doctor is your kinsman redeemer. He's your kinsman redeemer. He's the nearest of kin to redeem you, Yasharal. Whether if you from Banya, Yamayan, Lawa, what they say Lewi in Africa. Whether if no matter what tribe you from in the 12, whether if you from the Kawash tribe, the son of Dan, the Ethiopian Danites, no matter who you is, Falasha, foreigners in Ethiopia, Beta Israel, no matter where you've been scattered, we have a redeemer. Our redeemer lives. Your victory is not dead. Your redeemer lives. Your hope is alive. Your hope is alive. He defeated death and hell. Your redeemer lives. He gave you a sign. You are the sign. He said, I am the last sign you're going to get. He is your redeemer. That's your sign, Yasharal. That's your sign that it ain't it for you. That's your sign that it all hope ain't lost. Shalom, pure repentance. That's your sign that all hope ain't lost. Mashpaka. Your sign is your redeemer. Your sign of who you is your redeemer. Your sign of your victory in the lands of your captivity. Yes, because your mother and father were captives in these lands. And if they ain't free, we ain't free. If they didn't enjoy their life, then we need to love one another and come together, because there's a promise that we're going to see them again if we hope in Yahweh Shai and faint not and put our hope in our lamb sacrifice, the one that Yah sent to die in our spot. Elder Martin Luther King died, and he died because he loved you. But he wasn't the Redeemer. Elder Malcolm X and many more, many more. Even Elder Nat Turner died because he loved his people. Because if he didn't love his people, then he would be selfish and say, I'll only die if I have to die for myself. But greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Yahweh shall say, I don't just call you children, no, I call you friends. Even though you're the children of Allahayim. He said, I call you friend. You are my friends, and I died for you. A friend. No greater love has no man than this. Then he lay down his life for his friends. Yahweh Shai told it what we should be told as an eternal judgment. And we read it in Yeshaya, I believe chapter 56, that we were going to pay for our ancestors' transgressions and also ours. They, with the measure that they did it and with the measure that we do it, but for mercy's sake, all of us will not be destroyed. So at the measure of repayment that we deserve, Yahweh Shai was lynched on the tree, family. Cursed is every man that is lynched on the tree, that's hung on the tree. That's called lynching in America. Hanging somebody on a tree. That's called lynching in the Caribbean islands. That's called lynching in Europe. That's called lynching in Africa. So that word in this new language, lynching, is the same thing that was being hung on the tree with Hamashiach, of the slaying of the innocent. Crucified, right? They crucified your ancestors. And the scriptures say, cursed is every man that hangeth upon the tree. But I'm so glad to tell you this today, before I get off of here. I'm so glad to tell you this today, that even though Yahweh Shai said that, he was a way out of the curse. So the thief beside Hamashiach that was being lynched on a tree right beside him, he had no rope around his neck, but he was still hung on a tree. Hung on there. And guess what? The man that was beside him, he got set free from the curse. Even though he died on the tree, he died with hope. Because the one that was prophesied to come, but way before he did, had appeared and showed himself with great signs of the healing of the sick, the restoration of the skin being back black because it turned white because of leprosy. The signs of Yahweh Shai healing the blind and making the dumb to be able to talk and the mute to be able to speak. The setting the captives free that was inside the tomb. He came and showed great signs of who he was. He showed you his fruits. And on his last day, his last days on earth, Yahweh Shai himself, the son of Allahayim, who was sent from Yahweh, our Father, Abba Yahweh, in the garden where he shed all those tears as if they were great sweats and drops of blood that fell upon the earth. If there's any other way, 3 times, looking for another way, and it wasn't no other way. And he laid down his life freely. No man took his life. He gave it freely. And guess what he did? When he died on that tree for our people, he rose again on the third day, fulfilling the prophecy. That's for you. That's for me. Blessed are those who believe and have not seen. Now look at the signs. You might not believe him for the word's sake, but you can believe him for the very work's sake. Hallelujah, for they do testify of him. If you ever felt like you was going to go to hell, if you ever had a near-death experience, if you ever thought about what Yahweh Shai saved us from, that ought to bring a never dying joy in your heart that hell was defeated, that death was defeated, that your grandmother and your grandfather that weren't able to enjoy their life but had to live out all their time on the slave master plantation has a way out. That make me never want to forget who I am. That make me never want to forget who my grandmama is, because I know I don't have to forget her. She's not just some dust. My great grandmother, Sarah, is not just some dust in the lots of our inheritance. Our great grandfather, that blood go right down to us. It's not just some dust in the land that he purchased and didn't steal when he purchased the burial ground. Our great grandfather, who was very virtuous in his giving and in his love, and had a heart right after Yahweh's heart. That's why he was called Yahweh's friend, just like Dawad was called a man after Yahweh's own heart, because Yahweh was able to forgive Dawad for his transgression. So you see that when you are forgiven and you have a heart after Yah's heart, that means he not judging you by what you once was. So just because some of our people was gangsters and pimping and doing all this stuff, if you accept Yahweh Shai, he will make you free and you can live your life. You got to live somewhere. You got to suffer somewhere. And Pastor Kelly just did a video. I want y'all to check that out when I'm done. He was walking us through the blessing that Yah has blessed us with. And when you walk those grounds, and when you working together, not just saying because we got faith and hope and a real promise that we don't have nothing to do, but having that hope and faith, if you ain't have nothing, and a rich man told me this, you can have all the money that you want, but if you ain't got no peace and no joy in your heart, you ain't got no hope in your heart, you ain't got nothing. If you can't enjoy your riches, you ain't got nothing. A poor man is more happier than him. So if you got real joy in your heart, it don't matter if you own all the cattle on 1,000 hills alongside of Yahweh, because a lot of y'all don't understand that the earth was given over into us, right? And all the cattle of 1,000 hills belong to our Father that a lot of us rejected, because we don't know why we rejected him. We just rejecting him because we were born in this state of sin and transgression, separated from Yah. You didn't have to be born and do something wrong to be born like this. Our father and mother did it, and death passed upon all of us. So look at what it say. So you can have all you see, because all of y'all own all the cattle of 1,000 hills, and a lot of us don't even know it. That ones that we say is wicked, that won't receive Yahweh Shai, he gave it all to us, but we can't enjoy what was given to us because we rejected our Redeemer. But guess what? When he buy you back, now you're purchased by his blood, and now he's able to give you what he want to give you, and you can enjoy your life right now on earth while you're on here, even though some of us is going to suffer, and some of us going to be prosecuted, and some of us may be put to death for crimes that we didn't commit, or for crimes that we did commit that's not warranted to be put to death. Some of us may be going through the courts right now because we did what the scripture said. We tried to love our children, and somebody done snuffed them out, and they should have mercy on that brother. But will the world have the mercy that it want y'all to have on it? Will the nations have mercy? Will they show the same compassion that they want y'all to give to them when they say that anybody that's against us always being here and always being America and always being on top, but won't even show you no compassion? But they say they're gonna be saved when Messiah come back, and they join inside of churches, and they say this land is our land, this land is your land, and the indigenous people got to follow their rules. The indigenous people should be the one that set up the statute. But this is how it is. This is how it is. So you got to sojourn your time here. We see, right? This is how it is. This is how it is. So people of other nations, you can't cleave to theft, and the same thing go for us. We can't ignore the depths of the crime that was done and say I'm a good person or say I'm finna make it. If you want real hope, if you want real peace, Sham, Kham, Yapah, no matter what house you come from in Sham, no matter what house you come from in Yapah, listen, because some of us say we're going to discount this one. No, that is not my call. If the scripture says it's going to happen, there's nothing I'm finna do to stop it. But I don't know who going to call and I don't know who not. So I'm just going to lay it out there. Whosoever will, let them come. Let y'all do the separate.